Hello everyone, it's Karen. Welcome to another video. Now, first of all, before we go any further, I want to kind of apologise for the longer delay of making videos because I've been away on holiday for the last few weeks, since the end of August, start of September, and I've came back from holiday a few days ago, so now I've finally found some time to make a video. I know I often kind of leave it long before videos, so this may not be anything out of the ordinary, but I just thought I'd put it out there, that I've been away on holiday for a while, so that's how I've not been able to do them as often. So today's video is about some news that recently came out last week, and I know a lot of people have been talking about the Oasis reunion, and I'm going to do a video on that because I do like Oasis, but I want to do this video first. So this video is about the rock band REO Speedwagon, who announced last week that they were going to cease touring come 2025. So next year, in fact. And I want to explain about the background, about why this has kind of all been going on and whatnot. But before I do, I want to explain a bit about REO Speedwagon. REO Speedwagon are, of course, a rock band from like the 70s. Their first album came out in 1971, but they've been going about for a few years before that. They were founded by Alan Gratzer, who was the original drummer, and Neil Doughty, of course, their keyboard player, who was one of their longest serving members of the band, or maybe the longest serving member in the band, to be exact. So they've been going for many years, even through various lineup changes throughout the years, and they have been kind of touring as well, and they've had big hits like Keep On Loving You, Take It On The Run, Roll The Changes, Time For Me To Fly, Keep Pushing, Can't Fight This Feeling, many great songs they've had through the years. So that's a bit about them. Their last album they released was in 2007, Find Your Own Way Home, but they did make a Christmas album in 2009. But during those years they have still been touring, kind of mostly around about America, but they have done a few tours overseas. Not as many as their American and Canadian tours, but they've toured throughout those years, which has kept their kind of relevance going, even if they haven't made any new music. That's the kind of thing when bands tour, and they haven't released music for a long time. Their touring keeps them relevant and even keeps them going, throughout that. And I became a fan of theirs in 2019, and in those years I've been hoping that they would come to the UK and tour. Well, obviously with this announcement that's not going to happen. So I want to explain about the recent events that have been going on with REO Speedwagon and kind of where this leads to today. So what happened was, at the start of 2023, January 2023, it was announced that Neil Doughty would not be touring. He would retire from touring within the band, but he would only really kind of come on select dates. So basically, then another guy came in and did the keyboards. And so they were kind of still touring without Neil, which was a big change, because Neil has been one of the original members for many years, maybe the last remaining original member. Well, apart from Kevin and lead singer Kevin Cronin and bassist Bruce Hall, but they kind of joined sort of later on in the band. Oops, I need to turn my television off. I realise I've left it on. There we go. But anyway, they've been kind of still in the band, even if they didn't join originally. The original lead singer was a guy called Terry Luttrell, and then Kevin came in, and the original bassist was a guy called Greg Philbin, and of course Bruce Hall replaced him in 1977, or 78, 77, it was 77. So they've been kind of still going with the lineup of Dave Amato on guitar and Brian Hitt on drums, who've been with them since the departures of the original guitarist Gary Richrath in 1989 and departure of drummer Alan Gratzer in 1988. And Alan Gratzer, of course, founded the band along with Neil as well. So they've still been going even with the lineup changes, as I say, But they were younger when some of these departures happened back years ago, but they're now kind of older, so it kind of then led to what we're really kind of going on about. What's really kind of led to this. In November of 2023, a few months after Neil's departure, it was announced that Bruce Hall was going to be going in for back surgery and would have to miss some dates of their tour. But it was kind of hoped that Bruce would come back to the band, and they had another guy fill in called Matt Bissonette, who had just come off the tour touring with Elton John, so he kind of stepped in at rather short notice. And so that kind of happened, but it was all kind of hoping that Bruce would come back from surgery and rejoin the band kind of fresh and rejuvenated a bit. And in June, it was announced that Bruce had been cleared to return to the band by his doctor, whether rightfully or wrongly, or whether, I don't know, but, you know, Bruce had been told as far back as June that he could go back and tour by his doctor. So that was kind of it. But then kind of Bruce didn't come back to the band at some point, and everybody kind of wondered, well, what's going on. And then it was kind of announced that REO Speedwagon, or there was kind of gossip or rumour that they wouldn't be touring in 2025, but that was still early days, so just sort of wait and see, really. And then in September, what happened was Kevin ended up having to cancel a show or two, I think, because of vocal issues. And so that was kind of what happened. And then things kind of turned around a week later. On last Monday, the 16th, a statement came out via REO Speedwagon that they were going to cease touring. And it's now since come out that the band had felt that Bruce had not recovered sufficiently enough to do to perform at the level that fans have come to expect. And he had respected the opinion, but Bruce had never intention of walking away from the band or even retiring and from the fans or even from the crew, which he has been a part of for almost, and loved being a part of for almost 50 years. And even Kevin didn't have any part of intention to go. But because of the complex situation with, you know, both health issues, kind of irreconcilable differences, let's say, started and led to them this announcement. And this was the full statement that they read, which I'll read out to you. To our fans, Bruce has intended to be back on the road again by now. A little pun there from the statement. If it were just up to him, he'd be back on tour, but it's not up to him. The consensus opinion was that he had not recovered sufficiently enough to be able to perform at the level fans have come to expect. Bruce has respected that opinion and is grateful that Matt has been able to keep the wagon rolling through the summer tour. Bruce has never had any intention of retiring or walking away from the band, fans and crew he has loved for almost 50 years. For Kevin's part, he too has never had any intention of leaving the band, and fans and crew mean the world to him as well. Due to this complex situation, irreconcilable differences arose between Bruce and Kevin, so it is with great sadness that we announce that REO Speedwagon will cease touring effective January 1st, 2025. Neil and Kevin and Bruce thank their fans for their years of loyal support and for giving them back to the band such wonderful memories that will remain with each of them forever. And this is like, it was a lot of fans were saddened, yes, but a lot of fans maybe weren't surprised or just weren't that bothered, given that a lot of them have felt the band have never been the same since the departures of Alan and Gary, sorry. And I do agree that things may haven't been the same, but whether they've changed for the worse or better, I don't know. But it's always remained much the same because we've had good music out of the band during those years, but we've only really had 3 albums since the departures of since Gary and Alan, which were The Earth, a Small Man, His Dog and a Chicken in 1990, Building a Bridge in 1996, and Finding Your Own Way Home in 2007. And of course the Christmas album in 2009. But, you know, but even Bruce Hall has since come out and said, you know, that him and Neil did try everything in their power to keep the wagon rolling and to keep going. And they definitely said they definitely deserved a farewell tour. And if things were going to end, they should have all had a meeting and said, right, let's have a farewell tour, and then that's it. You know, that's how they should have done it. This was not the way how it was meant to end. I definitely do agree. But folk are kind of being very vocal, you know, that this is down to Kevin Cronin's ego and his attitude in a lot of places, which I could probably see from a perspective from that side. You know, Kevin's always had like his view that he's like the lead singer, and it's true, but he was never the original lead singer. And he goes on about kind of how he founded the group. He didn't found the group. That was Neil and Alan. But he kind of almost is kind of, well, he still acknowledges Gary, but he kind of, there was one interview he gave where he claimed he wrote Riding the Storm Out. No, that was a Gary Richrath song. Gary wrote Riding the Storm Out, not you, Kevin. I don't mean to be like an asshole, but you know, that's the history of, he's trying to like rewrite REO's history. And you know, this is a sad thing we're experiencing with a lot of other bands. We've had band members falling out and then it kind of all falls to bits, you know. but we've had, and you know, it's a sad way of the music world we're living. You know, REO Speedwagon have been able to keep, you know, the relevance going, and fans were still able to see them every summer. For a lot of rock fans, they would go to one of their concerts, and now their summers are not going to be the same again. And from a lot of our UK fans, we're now not going to get to see them. I'd always hoped that I would get to see them as far back since 2019. Their last UK tour was in 2016 with Status Quo being on the bill. And I really wanted them to see them in the UK, but that's now not going to happen. And that's quite a sad thing, you know. They're now another list of people I never got to see, you know. We're losing a lot of rock hands. You know, Tom Petty's gone. Foreigner now on their last tour. Elton John's just done a farewell tour last year, which I went to see in Glasgow. Whitesnake were doing a farewell tour, but they had to kind of stop that because of health issues with David Coverdale. And you know, it's just the future of rock is not in a good way. You know, very sooner or later there's going to be very few people touring, it's just sad that now REO Speedwagon have now joined the bandwagon and have been a part of, and are now going to be one of the ones that's not touring anymore. And you know, I kind of lost for words a little bit on this this video. I thought I was going to have a lot to say, but I'm kind of like lost for words a bit. You know, it kind of makes you similar thing with Fleetwood Mac. You know, Lindsey Buckingham was forced out of the band. You know, and then the band went on without him, and a lot of fans weren't happy. You know. Now, for the future of REO, we don't know. You know, touring has kept them really relevant. But now that there's not going to be any more touring, what's going to happen? Are we going to get any new music? I don't know. We'd have probably had new music by now, but that's now probably not going to happen either. You know, who knows if Kevin will go on his own, and maybe the other band members will go on their own. You know, it's just sad that, you know, because of Kevin's ego, this is now effective. The band is now ended, you know. We're now seeing the end of REO Speedwagon. We've probably seen the end of them for many, many years before, but they've still managed to kind of ride the storm out in some way or another. But yeah, I want to know what your kind of thoughts on it. Do you feel sad that they're not going to tour anymore? Did you want to see them and now you're not going to, or are you just indifferent about it because of, you know, Alan and Gary not being in the band anymore? Another thing I want to mention about Gary Richrath is one of the greatest guitar players of all time, and he never gets any credit. And he was forced. I don't know the story of what happened that made him leave the band, whether he quit or there are stories that kind of Kevin forced him out of the band because of his drinking. That was not how that should have happened. What should have happened was Kevin and Gary should have sat down and said, look, Gary, you know, you need to sort yourself out. You know, if you want to stay in the band, you need to keep yourself clean. Kevin should have done it that way, but instead he just kind of forced him out of the band, you know. That's not the way it should have been done. And again, you know, this was not how REO Speedwagon should have ended. They should not have ended their touring days like this. I know they've got a few dates left of their this year's tour, and then that's really the end. They've had to reschedule shows because of Kevin's vocals issue, but this is it. This is now the end of one of the greatest bands, of one of my personal favourite bands. I know some fans have felt different, people felt different about REO Speedwagon, and I'll respect that. This was definitely not how it should have ended. What they should have done was, they should have said, okay, it's clear that, you know, they should have just sat down one day and said, let's all do a farewell tour and let's all call it a day. That's what they should have done. They definitely deserved a farewell tour. A farewell tour would have definitely given the fans some closure. You know, loads of people do this. You know, Elton John's done it. You know, The Who thought were doing a farewell tour and then they came back. You know, that's the kind of thing that they should have done. They should have had a little farewell tour to say a thank you for all the memories and to all your support over the years, like what Foreigner are doing right now. They're going around the country one last time to say thank you and goodbye. That's what they should have done. Elton John did that. Why can't REO Speedwagon? I guess it's just the way things are. I guess, you know, it's just the way it had to end, and it's sad that it had to go out in this way. But, you know, I'm still a fan, and I'll still play the records, and I'll still watch all the concert footage, you know, of whatever era, you know. I've actually got a video somewhere of the High Infidelity tour in Denver. That's a great show, and I'll definitely probably watch that video. But I have another DVD of the Arch Alley show with the Styx in St. Louis in 2000. That's another pretty good show. So yeah, you know, that's kind of all I've got to say really left. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have any thoughts, just leave a comment down below. I know that, you know, that there's going to be differences of opinion on this subject. where we'll go, where REO Speedwagon will go from here next, I don't know. Whether Kevin's going to do a solo tour, I don't go solo now, I don't know. Whether there'll be solo music from each member, I don't know. Or whether the band will make another record, I don't know. But it's unlikely that that'll happen. But they're hopefully, what I hope there'll be is that there'll be a greatest hits package just commemorating all the years that REO Speedwagon have been active, and maybe throw in some unreleased material. That's what probably I would like to see now that the touring's coming to an end. But I suppose we'll need to wait and see on what happens with that. But yeah, that's really it. Rock music's now in a sad state, I hate to say it. But anyway, hope you enjoyed. That's enough from me for now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, as I say. I know I keep throwing things in there, but you know, hey-ho, that's just how I am, I guess. But anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again for the next video.